As we've just said before the meeting started, both Brian Murphy, the chair, and Deb Hamilton, the vice chair, are not with us tonight. So we have a quorum, but not a full complement. The first item on the agenda is an A&R application, and Sue let me know when I first got on that one of the parties involved has requested to move that item to the next agenda on the 21st or the 20th or whatever the next
21st.
On the 21st. Sue says we'll just make the time requirement if they do get here on the 21st. And if they don't, before that time, they'll need to withdraw this application without prejudice and reapply because there are extensions allowed, I think, on an A&R. So that will be for next time.
Fair enough. We don't have to do a formal vote on that.
I don't think so. They've requested to move. I don't know. What do you think, Sue?
I don't think that you need to. It's just a postponement. It's not a hearing or anything. So
yeah, nothing's been started really. All right. Second item on the agenda to modify or approve the memo regarding the Scenic Roads General Bylaw. Sue, would you share that for us?
sure.
Thank you.
Move it. Parent. Talk to myself.
It's okay. If that's what works.
Can you see it?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Is it large enough?
It is.
Perfect.
You've understood us. I have read this. I didn't have any specific comments. Does anybody, or should we go through it together or both?
I'm just reading it quickly now.
Good.
I apologize for not reading it.
All right. That's all right. We have plenty of time. Well, I do have one comment. Maybe at the very beginning, Sue, under regarding,
Yes.
I think we should give the bylaw, whatever, chapter and verse, bylaw number such and such, or is it, there must be a number. It must be identified in the table of contents somewhere, right?
Is that the 32?
Yep.
Yeah,
I like the Roman numerals. This is great.
too.
That's how they are in the bylaw.
Forget cursive. I wonder if they're still teaching Roman numerals.
I get in trouble when I use those in contracts now. No.
Yeah, this looks good.
Yeah. My only question, I think it looks good too, was I was trying to remember if we did some sort of guidance document with Leah at one point in time. Does anyone else recall that?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
There are a number of there are several documents. Last year I produced an actual application because prior to that it was just
Right.
they would send in a letter requesting. So I produced an application that's online, and also an outline of the process is online
Okay.
as
And
well.
does this memo refer to how to find a copy of that application form anywhere?
No, but I'm happy to add that in.
It might be helpful
Yeah, it's worth mentioning.
Yep.
wherever you
Good
find
thought.
it. Yeah, whatever.
Well,
It's free, I think. Is that
It
right?
is.
I'm going to be right back. Archie needs to go out.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yes, you could tell them where to find it and add it and tell them that there's no fee involved. That might be semi-enticing. Of
An inducement.
Right.
course, this is mostly intended for town boards, town.
Yeah, it really
For whom the
is.
fee would be waived anyway. But it's true that, well, now you've got me wondering, I'll think aloud too, whether you said online, you can get the application form, you can get various things.
Mhm.
Some version of this memo maybe should be online too, because this applies to residents as well.
Yes.
So we can think about where that might fit or how it might need to be tweaked. I'm sure you
Okay.
figure it out.
Oops.
It is a little odd to me. I mean, this is in the bylaw, I guess, that it's only 10 inches or greater.
Hmm.
A good 6 and 8 inch trees out there, that would love to get to be 10 inches if only they had a chance.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you got to get out there with your caliper and take them down. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or what about
Honey, 9.5. We got to get this today.
what about the multi-stem where the
Right.
aggregate is 22, but there are a bunch of, anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
At 10-inch diameter or larger, I should check the bylaw. Does that mention like 3 feet from the ground, that kind
It's
of thing?
actually 1 foot from the ground.
Okay. good.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if that may coincide with the definition of a street tree under the
Mass
is it
general law.
87, Mass
Yes,
General Law 87.
yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because that's a pretty arcane set of specifications to just come up with.
Okay,
Okay.
well, I will add that.
Okay.
I will add that and
Didn't have any on other.
Yeah, chapter 87.
right.
No, there were some other pages too. There was a great if else kind of chart that was
Yeah, let me get that.
once I figured out it was like playing a board game, but then I figured it out.
Right. Oops. Can you see that okay?
Yes, yep.
No, it's completely gone out of my head. This excludes Route 113.
Yes.
Have we
No.
said in the guidance document what to do if that it doesn't apply on Route 113?
I
Probably should just for consistency.
think, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to check.
But do they still need to talk to the state to take down trees on 113?
It's 113, I believe, still. I will have to check. I think 113 is not discounted or excluded from the state's street tree bylaw. I don't believe, but I'll have to double check on that.
Well, then if someone were to look at this chart, for instance, and they would say, but I live on Main Street, this doesn't apply to me. Would
You
they-
know-
It doesn't
Right.
apply for the scenic road byway.
I don't know if you'd want to shoehorn this thing in, but it is a starting block instead of that one. You might have, is this along 113? And then if the answer is yes, then you might say, refer to chapter 87 of the Mass General Laws. And then if the answer is no, then you go to this box.
Mhm. That would do it.
That sounds good. Yep. Good idea.
And I think, by changing to a smaller font, I think you could probably make the room there to sneak that in.
Yes. And then
And,
header could
and-
even go away and become a footer if it had to,
yeah,
just for space sake.
and then down, I don't know if you want a parenthetical or something, saying that as of the town meeting vote, I forget when it was, like 15 years ago or whatever, on this date, all roads in West Newbury, excluding Route 113, are considered scenic roads.
Right. I have that on the memo. I did
Yeah.
not put it on here, but I could add.
You might, yeah, down, it looks like lower right, there's room to kind of sneak it in
Yeah.
there.
Mhm. Or even in this earlier box, when you go to the town, to all the other roads, it could be in that box too. This
Yeah.
includes everything, all roads in town, whatever. Okay, I think we're getting there.
All right. And then this is just a reiteration of the one that's online. So it has these steps. They've been shortened just for this seat, but this is essentially what is online as outlining the process for.
I don't know what it is about the way I slept last night or my my UNH duties today, but when I see submit 4 copies, I want to spell out 4.
I'm all right with that.
when I see to run 2 things in the legal notice, 2 consecutive weeks. Yeah,
You're concerned about forgery? People
no,
who
I don't
did
know, I don't know,
21
I
or
don't know.
46 or
Yeah, there's, yeah, 7.
that's funny.
I don't know, it's a silly old grammar rule, I think.
It is actually, anything less than, is it 10?
Yeah, I
Supposed
think it's 10, yeah.
you're supposed to
20.
write it out in a regular doc.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you put the number in parentheses and, yep.
Yep,
after,
yep, I'm gonna bring back the dog.
yeah.
Release the hounds.
I'm a single dad today.
Okay. Well,
This is great.
let's hope your phone starts ringing with all kinds of responsible people dealing with trees.
Right.
So do you want to give it one last go around with us before we distribute it, or do you just want to make those changes and?
What, at your pleasure, which do you prefer?
I don't know. I don't want to rush you. I mean, maybe we could take the 2 weeks and show it to everybody next time.
Sure.
Is it worth it? Tim and Ray, or am I being too fussy?
I think that's fine. I mean, there's, I don't see a
Give,
particular rush on this.
no, give Brian and Deb a bite at the apple.
Mm. The stone walls, it's the same bylaw, right?
Yes.
So see trees.
Right,
Sorry.
is it mentioned?
We should mention the stone walls because the stone wall is a tricky one. People,
Yeah,
Where are you talking about?
I guess
well,
it's
I think
memo,
what we,
right?
yeah, it's in the memo.
Oh, in the memo.
it might,
Yeah.
might work in the.
I
future.
didn't, yeah, okay, let's.
I think it should be mentioned in this guidance document someplace because it's the same bylaw, Sue, you know? So, you know, if we just kind of talk about trees in the chart, then,
Or the disturbance of a stone wall.
yep,
Look at the
Yep.
chart, see if we can find a spot on the chart.
yeah, to add stone walls, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
on this chart or the
Yeah, yeah.
previous page?
Let's see, disturbance, so you
one
got
has
stone
it.
wall, you got
Stone
stone
wall.
wall here, yeah, good,
wall,
good,
yes.
stone wall, yeah. All right, so stone walls are covered there.
Yeah,
How about on this page? Because I saw trees
Um,
talked about.
this one doesn't talk about what it is.
Shade trees removed.
Only mentioned there because it talks about the tree warden.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
only, right.
What you read?
Okay. Yeah, we don't have a wall warden.
Okay.
So.
No, we don't, not yet. You volunteering?
Some towns have,
It better be somebody who isn't disturbed by poison ivy.
Oh, geez.
some
Boy, have you
towns
seen it?
have fence wardens,
They
don't
have,
they?
they have fence walkers, but that's about laying out bounds. Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
Okay.
and also, the fence heights are limited as well.
right.
So I guess
So-
as long as it's covered on that first page, Sue, I think we're probably good. You have it covered here. Yep, I just wanted to make sure that it
Right.
was there somewhere.
All right, well, we can tentatively put it on the agenda for the 21st.
Sure.
If we have time, if we have both River Road and the A&R. This shouldn't take long. You
No,
know, send it out next time and people can look at it ahead of
I
time.
swear a stone wall evaporated, on the property, just east of Page School on the north side of the road.
Hmm. Yes,
Ah.
Mr. Daly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is still stone around the old entrance, that's abuts right
That's right. We had a very pesky first and last time engineer or developer. Yes,
yeah.
yes. He had a magic wand. Okay, well. you're
Well,
right.
you know how stone is. It does tend to evaporate, especially in full sun.
All right, well, on that note, let's move along to item 3. May 8th ZBA hearing on banner flags. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., second floor hearing room. I'm planning to go. I know, Tim, you're not able to. Ray, are you interested in being there?
I think if you go, I'm confident we've got it covered.
Okay.
And I know this particular type of sign is near and dear to Brian's heart, so.
Yes, it is. He wrote a little statement that I think he sent to everyone, a little memo.
Yes.
Yes,
And I'm going to take that because he wants it read into the record.
Yes.
We'll read that at the meeting. And then I don't think I need to say much else once I've read his memo.
No,
Um,
it's really not our venue, is it?
No, but it is on our agenda.
I
And
mean, if they have any questions, it's good to have you there. You
right,
know,
and I'll take
if they
the,
wonder, why we didn't allow it at all, even for just a couple of weeks kind of a thing. And, we had thorough discussions about temporary signs, et cetera.
Mhm.
And we did consider, I understand that the applicant is appealing because it's, says it's like a real estate sign or something. It's like,
No,
I mean, we did consider that sort of signage.
right, but we decided that it was the movement that we were really not
Well, and they're
interested
just the
in.
size and everything. And
Yeah,
yeah,
all of
I mean,
yeah.
we weren't excluding real estate signs. We weren't excluding, somebody paves a driveway and they put it out Bob's Paving Service or whatever.
Right, right.
But that's
Well,
that's less visually upsetting than,
well, and I also think that it is truly temporary in that the work will be finished, the property will be sold, those signs will go away, they have a known duration or, two-ended duration anyway. The other thing is if you go by there, that business has plenty of signs. It's not like people don't know they're there, you know?
yeah.
So, but
Although I would like to see us change the bylaw to allow the guys that are full of air and the
okay. So, I'll
Ubiquitous.
take a copy of the bylaw and, this is Sam's finding and it's pretty straightforward and I'll read Brian's comments, but I don't think we need to particularly
No,
take
and
any votes or
something
anything.
that people forget, and you know how upset I've always been about the sign bylaw being violated by our Board of Selectmen,
Yes.
is that the sign bylaw, all bylaws are voted by the town.
Oh, well, that's fine.
It's not us.
No,
It's the wisdom of the town.
right. So
So
we worked on it and researched it and had public hearings and it was accepted at town meeting. People voted that this is the
with
will
a
of the
2/3
town.
majority or something, and yeah. So I mean, you have to have a compelling reason to be.
Right.
You're asking for an exception with the town, not with any particular board.
Right. Right. Yes. So we'll see how this goes. All right. So I'll do that. I was saying to Sue that ZBA doesn't meet very often. The only other item on their agenda is to approve minutes, 3 sets of minutes from a year ago.
Oh,
Because they haven't
wow.
met since last May or June. So that'll be interesting. All right, so we've discussed it, but I don't think there's any vote necessary. The bylaw is the bylaw. We stand by our bylaw. The town voted for this and we're good to go.
And
All right.
we're here to answer questions.
Yep. Number 4 on the agenda, Housing Opportunities Initiative, next steps.
Yeah, so
I'm thinking. how to-
yeah, I think so I had a discussion with Angus regarding what they're intending, what the select board is intending to do with the funding. And I think what he had said is that they're currently not sure, but they do want to assess the feasibility of a 40R district, and that may be short-lived if they find out early that it can't do what they're kind of hoping that it could do, which is a more scattered approach possibly to that, or it could be a longer portion. He did say that he felt that we could find some funding to answer some of the questions about community impacts.
Okay.
And as I think that people were very clear that was one of their primary questions about the 40A, the MBTA communities, and Angus said that he thought that money would be found, if not this money, then other monies to address that and come up with some answers. So I am checking in with some consultants to see what a high level state community impact study would do, because it's pretty small numbers, which is not typical when they're doing community impacts. It's really usually large numbers, like hundreds of units, and not 30 or 40. So hopefully we can find a fee that's reasonable to do some of that work.
Well, I
Yeah,
think that work is worth doing as it would apply to any, we'll call it a quote, large project in town, because whether it's MBTA or 40R or whatever, the addition of 30 or 40 or 60 or 80 units,
Right.
that will always be a question. So it might be nice to have a kind of a sense of that, as of now, what
Yeah.
that would look.
You know, a couple things that struck me at town meeting. One was that people are talking about how there'll be an increased need for services, whether it be school, police, fire, et cetera. It seems like, they were ignoring that those people weren't considering that there would be a, what's the right word for it? An increase in tax revenue corresponding to it.
Mhm.
And that the other thing is that, we've had several developments of this order of magnitude
Mhm.
in the last 15 or 20 years, and I haven't noticed any, skies falling kind of a thing. So I think I understand this is an emotional thing, and nobody likes having big government come in and tell us what we have to do. And particularly if you're in a butter, it's very upsetting. But it's I don't know. I think people's emotions are getting ahead of them. So anything that we can do with factual information, straightforward, black and white on the paper, yeah, that's better.
Yeah,
We'll never know. You can never predict. You're trying to predict the future, but you can get good estimates.
right. Right, and those same questions will be asked if a 40R were to occur.
Sure.
I guess I'll be interested to see what the select board decides to do. It was clear from questions that were being asked, and it's understandable. This is very complicated stuff, zoning in general, and these housing projects, and between the confusion of over the different laws and the emotional part of it, cooler heads did not prevail. I'm somewhat concerned that if a 40R goes ahead, then people will think, well, we don't need to do anything else. We're going to have a whole education around that.
Mhm.
This, that, both. Are they merged? Are they not? So I'm hoping that, that those kinds of questions will be answered by whatever.
So,
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it is confusing to apply, to zone a specific amount of land is not the same as to go ahead with a project.
Specific development, right?
Yeah, and I think that's easily lost
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
people.
I think that
And-
it should be 87 units though, right? So I think that we should look at that number, right?
in terms of the impact study?
Yeah, at a minimum, right? Because
Well,
that's
actually, I think you
We
need
could
to
look
have
at-
two levels.
Yeah, small one and that one.
Because I think it is true, and it's not like we're trying to calm people down and say anything to do it. I think it's actually quite true that the possibility of 87 units being built is very small. So
right. But if that's
I think you'd want to look at the 87 number,
right,
because that's what the law requires, and then look at the more likely number of about half.
that's fine.
I'd still just like to have the data that I think shouldn't be that hard to come up with from either the school district or the town itself. The Page School population every year for the last 20 years. The
Yeah, it'd
middle
be
school
interesting to graph that out.
population. How hard is that? And here's where we dropped in X development, and here's where this happened. Obviously the over 55 stuff had a tiny impact, but there were some, I think, high school kids in at least one of those spots. So.
Yeah, and right alongside that, you might have the revenue stream.
Mhm. I see Mr. Baker is here, and I'm running the meeting tonight. You're muted right now, but did you have something to add?
Yeah, and I joined because I took a lot of the arrows, so I thought I could offer a little bit of wisdom. For one, for this, when I was on the school committee in 2005, Pentucket had 1,000 students. I think they're at 750 right now.
Exactly.
So the impact of all the new developments we put in town has actually, what we're attracting are older people that their children are already out of school. And Page School they do their best to hide empty rooms up there. There's tons of room.
Dropping. Yeah.
Yeah. And the 40R can provide educational benefits if the the state will pay for any additional cost on education that's above what we get in tax revenue.
Yeah.
I personally think the police department is a little overstaffed for the town. And the fire department, either one of the, if we do Dunn's, Mullins, or probably even Knapp, as long as your housing has a lower cost, you'll attract young men to the town that will be willing to be volunteer firemen, and you'll take care of that. So I don't think there'll be that big of an impact.
No,
Now-
and impacts can be positive.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said over and over again, I like kids.
Mhm.
And I don't mind paying for them to go to school.
Right. People paid for our kids to go to school. You know, that's the way it works, right?
That's right, and everybody benefits from smarter kids, right? So
Mhm.
No, I think
The-
we're all.
I think that gets lost too. And again, it's because it's so easy to get emotional about these things. And
But-
particularly if you're in a butter.
But-
I mean, heck, I still miss looking out on Knowles Field. It's now Ocean Meadow.
Mhm,
And I like the cows around Page School.
mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
glad for the solar panels. I've got them on my house.
Mhm.
But but that's just life. That's just what happens. That's just
Yes, it
it
does.
is.
Well, one comment I think that that as a planning board will need to make is you got to get pin Angus down on the grant numbers and then divide it by the number of houses. And I think Angus said easily we're brought in maybe $2 million in grants this year. There's 1,700 households. That's $1,000 tax increase per household to pay that. And if they go after the Chapter 90 funds and the school funds, then taxes are going to go up $1,000 or $2,000. That should end most of the discussion.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right, Sue, you're right. Rich, we want to talk to Angus, not only about the impacts, but the grant side of it too. And I know he did a lot of research on that, but we've got to get that out there, I don't think he
Yeah,
was
I mean,
comfortable making that public yet, but it needs to be made public.
and I'm sympathetic because we don't know what grants would be pulled yet.
No.
And even if no grants are being pulled, you don't know from year to year where you're at.
No,
But it
that's-
seemed like he was talking about looking over the last half dozen
Right.
years, about $1 million a year.
Yeah.
That we,
But if
Yeah,
you-
but for resiliency and,
Yeah.
and, energy needs and things like that within the town, I can see us, seeking more than that too. So you're right, Ray. I think there could, very easily be much more money than that at issue.
Well, and I think if you're trying to get rid of all these straw men, that's one. There's mathematical data there to say, okay, you want to know the impact? This is the impact.
yeah,
make
and
your own
it's
decision,
okay to
but that's
say
the
we
impact.
don't know exactly, but it's
Right,
going to
but
vary from
as it's-
$500 to $2,000 per household.
Right, this is the data that we have, and this is what it would mean.
True.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just have to get the facts out there.
Mhm.
Get people to listen before they're on town meeting floor. That's always the trick.
Well, Sue, you had noted that, there are a good number of communities now that have passed it. So I just wonder if some of this groundwork has been done elsewhere, in some of the other towns, it's,
But didn't I
Yes,
hear that
so I
somebody
am-
else was joining the fight in
There are four of
Pushing
them
back.
now. Wakefield, it was in your memo. It was linked in that thing Sue sent us. Wakefield, Milton, who are the other two? Somebody on-
Marshfield, Littleton.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And yet surprising ones have passed it. You know, I think some of it has to do too with the locations that are chosen, frankly. You need to kind of butterproof yourself wherever you can. Or
Yeah,
you
well,
never
I think,
expect that that's a problem, you
I
know?
think we should propose our local shopping mall, at least the parking garage. You know, let's zone that.
No, I know. I'm not, that's absolutely not what I'm suggesting.
No, but you
But-
remember
But-
somebody in town was saying,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
That's
but
what,
we
yeah,
don't, we
that's,
don't have that. We don't have the big parking mall that you can.
no.
Mm,
But you know,
Georgetown, Geor-
one of the sites that Newbury passed theirs, and they're sort of a northerly and a southerly area. And one is sort of south of the train station in Newburyport around that big amorphous intersection there. And then the other one is down on 95, and it includes the building that their town offices are in now, that great big commercial building.
Oh,
Oh,
And then some on the other side of the highway too. So there's passing it and there's passing it, you know?
hmm.
yeah, most of the towns I've heard of are put either an existing development, putting it right there, or Georgetown is passing the center of town. It's where you have to buy 5 commercial properties to put anything in.
I
So,
can't believe that the state's gonna let it fly. There's gotta be some pushback on it when it's just, you know, a fictitious possibility.
Well, that'll show you how sincere the state was in passing this law now, won't it? If they don't push back,
Yeah,
they weren't very sincere.
well, we've always got our industrial zone.
it's owned by the state. I looked at it to see if
Oh.
it was possible. It's all state or town-owned property, and nobody is planning to dispose of it.
It was probably part of the big right of way when they built the highway, and then once they did the final engineering, it was a little leftover or something. Huh.
Yeah,
Well, Sue, sorry.
no, the only place I've heard in town to suggest to dump it would be right at the Artichoke and the Newburyport line, the Episcopal Church property,
Mhm.
which
Oh,
they
mhm.
figured they would never sell it, but if they did have a develop it, it's basically Newburyport. So
Wait a minute, are you talking about the sanctuary, the Emerson?
Church. No, the other side, the church and the
Okay.
parish house on the south side of the road, southeast side of the road.
no, I was talking
You're talking about the brothers, about that?
between the Emery Street and the Artichoke River,
Oh,
right at Main Street. It's probably
Yeah,
1,000.
yeah,
I think
that's
they've got a
Main Street.
conservation restriction on a big chunk of that, don't they? I haven't looked.
Oh,
Anyway,
no.
anyway, to be continued. So Sue, at the Angus or the Board of Selectmen don't really have a direction. They're just.
So they said that they would put it on a June, they figured their first kind of discussion about it would be in a June timeframe, just because they need to take care of everything that's come out of town meeting. So
Okay.
like they're doing
Sure.
on Thursday. So he said that they would make sure that we were aware and that they would hold that meeting sometime in June, just to start that conversation to flesh out what the scope would look like for a study and see if there's any preliminary questions that need to be answered. So we can really figure out what that scope is.
Okay. Yeah, there's some pretty basic questions.
Yes, yes. And I've
What-
already reached out to Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities to see if other communities have done it and to kind
Oh,
of
good.
ask what the pitfalls were or what the benefits have been to them, so that we're not going into it blind. So
Right. I mean, they need to identify what the problem is they're trying to solve.
exactly, advancing those conversations in advance of the June meeting when the board, so that we'll have some answers, preliminary answers at least from the state's perspective on that.
Great. Okay, well, I guess we'll stay tuned on that one.
Stay tuned. And Dodson and Flinker, we still have a small amount of money left, so I've just kind of put them on hold. They may have some role in a study maybe developing concept plans for another site or any, any
Who
kind of.
knows? Yeah, if
kinda-
there's a-
I've got them on hold as well, as I would extend their contracts, just so we don't have to make a new one. And then it will be up to us, the board, how they want to use that.
well, I
remaining
wonder if there will be an RFP issued. Who knows? They could even be a respondent to that RFP. You never know.
Right. They have been involved in some 40R studies.
Yep.
But I think they're not one of the, the well-known
Known
firms
for-
that do it regularly, but they have been involved in some.
Okay. How's that dog doing,
Ray,
Ray?
you're
Muted.
unmuted.
It strikes me that is it just me, or I feel like we need to somehow formally thank them. You know,
I thank them quite often.
Sign the check. You put it in the mail.
yeah. But I mean, they put in so much work, and then to have things just sort of like
They really did.
go
Well,
on hold.
Well, we could, we could ask Sue to come up with some kind of a letter or something. I feel as if they're on hold.
Hmm.
We've got great products sitting just over there on the shelf. And we may well dust it off just as it is, depending how the lawsuit goes. I don't think it's their plan isn't flawed, you
Right.
know?
Well, maybe all it needs is for you, Sue, like just mention that at a recent planning board meeting, we really do appreciate all the work they put into it.
I am happy to do that.
Yes, absolutely. I thought they were terrific.
I mean,
Yeah.
I always thank my servers at a restaurant too, even though they're paid to serve me, so.
Well, you're right. I was being facetious, as
Oh, that's okay.
I
That's-
sometimes tend to do, but yeah, no, I think they went above and beyond. And of all the consultants we've worked with over the years, they were definitely very thorough, very thoughtful.
I've been so frustrated over the years by consultants who, but not these guys.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Excellent, excellent.
You chose well.
Well, I think you found them. All right, let's continue on with the next item, which is Sue's planner's report.
Right. So I'll just share that just so I don't forget anything, but obviously the first thing was on it was
Yep.
what we just discussed, the Housing Opportunities Initiative. I don't think I've missed anything there. In the interim, I would like to continue to maintain our website. And I wonder if there are, just with how we're moving forward, it doesn't have to be long or complicated, but I think it will be good to just keep it current.
Yes.
Happy to have anybody else's input on that.
Well, I don't know that the select board will want anything they may find out about 40R to be on the planning board website. Now we're going to get into
Right.
territoriality. It's going to be a little unpleasant.
Well, I think in its crossover to 40A, I think it's important to keep people up to date, but we can certainly figure out what level of information that is.
Yeah, I guess we could always just put a little note in there, after the town, since town meeting, the planning board
Right.
decided not to not bring this up for a vote at this town meeting, but we're still, have our eye on the ball with a deadline of December 31st, 2025. Meantime, we'll be watching what happens with other towns and cities in cases in the court, and also that other housing initiatives continue, including the select boards beginning to examine the use of Chapter 40R as a potential way to create housing in town. And the work of the Affordable Housing Trust continues, and we're all, we've all got our eye on the housing ball somehow, however you want to say
Yeah,
it.
I still think we should get more credit. The town should get more credit for passing the ADU.
Yes, people are talking about this all over the country now, and now the state is saying, oh, gee, maybe the legislature should make it by right with a 900 square foot limit. And I
Right.
thought, now there's some groundbreaking news for you.
Right?
Yeah, well, that would be the other thing you can still say. West Newbury is in a very good position is a leader really in the state in that we have had inclusionary housing since X date and the ADU bylaw since Y date. And I don't know, you can
Yeah, yeah.
You can do that.
write a rah-rah piece for us.
You can. Do you think it's important to kind of keep a running tally? So the update that Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities does, I don't know if it's a weekly or a monthly update of who's passed. Do you think that's of interest for folks?
I would link to it, put the link.
Right, put a link there.
See what other towns are doing and
Yeah.
put the link that you sent us today,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, just to keep the drums beating here, keep people thinking about it so they don't think that it's somehow gone away.
Good. Okay. Scenic road process, we've also talked about. Oh, the housing production plan. So the project manager, Lauren, has left. MVPC, Ian and Kayla, who was at all the meetings anyway, is still with them. They're taking over. They said it hasn't slipped that much. I think the schedule slipped a little. That we are one of the first communities that they're trying to finish up with because we are expired.
Right.
So they do hope to have it early. They hope to have it finalized by the end of the March. That's not happening. So they wanted it to. They still think they're going to end by the end of June. So it shortens our review period if we want to hold them to that, but we don't have to hold them to that. But I am kind of holding their feet to the fire to say, you know, let's move on. Let's get the first draft. So I know they're working on the first draft. We should get it soon.
What's the process for that? Do we approve it or does it need a public hearing or how does that work?
So it does not require a public hearing. It does require planning board. The term is review, but most instances it requires both the planning board and the select board to approve it.
Okay.
Or at least review. It says the wording is review, but if you send it in to say we've reviewed it, but don't give it more than that, you're going to hear back from the state. I think.
Yeah, they'd like an approval. Okay, so we'll need some time to do that.
Yeah.
What kind of I mean, we're talking about 20 pages, 400 pages?
So it'll be interesting to see what theirs is. I think it's more like it should be under 60, but there's a lot of demographic information and there's sections that are required and then they have to cover, you know, talk about infrastructure, they have to talk about environmental issues. So it's quite formulaic. And if you've seen the last one, you'll know much of what's in this one, but it will be updated in terms of what the board has done or the town has done since the last one, which will be good. And then it will update the, you know, housing inventory and the demographics data. So it still can be 60 pages or so.
Will it include the ADU, for example? So,
Yes.
awesome.
I think what we've told them at the beginning, I know what we told them at the beginning is that we wanted it to be very actionable items. We didn't want a lot of, you know, we didn't want to throw everything in there, do this. We really wanted to concentrate on what we thought we could get done. So hopefully it's going to be pretty solid to-do steps, whether it's the planning board or the Affordable Housing Trust or whoever. But
Okay, so it'll take a little time to review.
and I think one of the newer things that goal that was put in it was the idea of finding areas where conservation and housing could be looked at as together. So instead of buying land or paying for land and conserving all of it, to look at it for an opportunity for housing along the roads, or however it could be used by more than just one, however it could be used to accomplish more than one goal.
I think that's a focus that Essex County Greenbelt is pursuing these days too. They're moving more into, shall we say, more urban areas like Lynn and Haverhill and other places. And so that's a stricter requirement for more populous areas and areas where housing is really desperately needed. So,
It's not sustainable to save everything without allowing something for housing, and they can really go very well together. So
yeah, nice place to live.
yeah, exactly. And then just the project summary at the end. We did get everything that we needed from River Road, so that will be on next week. Drake's Landing, I've been in touch with them, but they still haven't put forth the performance bond release that our town council said we'll review it, as just send it to us. So he knows that the ball's in his court, but I haven't seen anything, so that's just kind of still on hold. I did reach out to Mr. Neep again. He did say he was working on that and he anticipated sending that in soon, and I will continue to reach out to him every other week or so.
Did he do air quotes when he said soon?
I had him on the phone, so.
It's already been a good month.
No, actually, I texted him or emailed, and he emailed from his phone and said, yes, that he is working on that. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if I could drive by. It's probably, well, I know he was working on the other one. It may be built by the time he puts in that application.
Yes. You have to call him on a rainy day. That's how
You're
you do it.
right. That's it for the planner's report.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, actually minutes are the next thing on the agenda, so
All right, let me
it's that easy to find, or should we just go
sharing
out of order?
that, and let me get the minutes up. Let's see. Let's start with
March 6th is the old one.
3/6, 3/19, and 4/2. So 3/6.
6th,
March
please.
6th.
Mhm. I guess we're playing a little bit of catch up here.
Find that. Yeah. Oh, I see him over here. You're with me.
Mhm.
You can
Great.
see the
Okay. I had a comment under 519 Main Street.
okay.
And it just comes from, doing this from a recording, I think. Starting with the second sentence, the town's peer review consultant has approved Dave Kelly, I would say, of Meridian Engineering.
Instead of his name or along with.
Along with 5 years from now, nobody's going to know who that is.
Oh, good point.
And then I would say David Kelly has approved the interim road as-built plan, period. Because he's not the one that did any of these other things.
Yeah, he didn't pay the inclusionary
Right.
housing fee.
Then
Although,
we'll
I'm-
say the developer, or Mr.
there you
Crow,
go.
has paid the inclusionary housing fee and has submitted additional funds. Blah, blah, blah. So now that's clarified. That's all.
Right.
Mr. Crow's been easy to work with. From
Yeah,
our perspective, I don't know in the office, but.
he has been very responsive and
Okay, same thing with Drake's 2 months ago. It's
Right.
still haven't
Right.
done it. Have we heard any more about this trail relocation business at Ocean Meadow?
we haven't heard any more about it.
Well, we shall see.
Any day now, I'm sure it'll all be worked out. It's only been
Yeah.
a decade or so.
There's a lot going on, so.
The properties have all changed hands, yeah. Okay,
I'm good.
anybody else have any comments?
Nope. Move
Okay.
to approve?
Second,
All right, all in favor? Ann Bardine, aye.
Ray
Tim
Cook,
Cronin,
aye.
aye.
All right. 3-0. 2 members absent.
302.
Right, I guess they're abstentions if they're not here. They're not voting.
Yeah,
All right, March
Okay, that's
19th,
on.
next one when you have a chance.
Yes.
there's a chunk of writing for you.
Mhm. Ray's got his 2 screens going. I'm jealous.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah. I did learn a couple things because of COVID.
I don't know anybody who works in an office that doesn't have 2 or more screens, especially if you're doing financial stuff as well as writing. It will drive you
Mhm.
insane. Okay,
Oh, and this was the public hearing.
yes. I wonder if there were a reason that that underlined text is underlined. Did she have questions or is it just a thing that happened? It doesn't, I
Oh,
don't
that's
care, but
interesting.
I wondered.
Oh, no, but if it needs an, yeah.
It's an important point made here. But
I
yeah.
think maybe it
boy.
was something that she had asked me to double check and I may have. She didn't take the underline off it.
Yeah, that was her note to self kind of.
I think so.
That's that John Kaminsky. He wasn't one of the main actors in the TV series The Office. Was he?
That's Krasinski.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how she got those names. Maybe she looked him up.
She
because
probably looked on the, she's a clever girl. I'll bet she looked at the sense,
Mm.
yeah. The, you know, whatever it is. The nosy book, as some people call it.
Right.
Okay, yeah, this, I mean, I read through this before. It seemed to generally reflect the conversation that went on.
Yes.
I think it was good, just a couple minor things. Let's see, there's a reference to Dylan. I think we're calling him Mr. Sussman. So it's like, I don't know, 10 lines from the bottom of the first page there. You see Dylan stated only a portion of the lot. See that?
Yes. Up from 12 Maple Street, 2 lines above that, if that number pops
Yep.
out.
22 Maple Street.
12, no, down.
Oh, well.
Up, down 3
Oh,
lines.
Sussman.
No,
Okay.
Dylan, 3 lines below that, it says Dylan, so.
Oh, Dylan.
Yeah,
Oh.
so it should just say Sussman or Mr. Sussman, something like that. Then there was just like a stray number 2 at the end of that paragraph.
What is that?
I don't know if that was a page number or what.
Or something.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you need an extra 2 floating around.
Okay,
What
so
all I- what all I
Zoom
had.
questions.
Would you say Alex Niles of 16 Merrill Street expressed concern over runoff water? Or was he at that
Yes.
time expressing concern over the
Supply of
public
water,
water supply?
Oh, I think it was stormwater.
Okay,
concern about
so I
storm.
would say over stormwater management instead of the water.
Yeah. It is interesting. I would say that most people who have problems with water in their basements, it is not due to anything that any neighbor did, but just,
It's West Newbury.
it's a thing. Yeah.
It is.
Yes,
It's
it
the
was
first town
interesting.
I've ever lived in where you can call the fire department to come pump out your basement.
Well, I
I
have
don't know
to
if they still
say,
do it. They used to do that.
I think they do. Knock on wood, I never have water in my basement, but that's because my house was built on a little knoll 225 years ago.
Art.
Well, for the record, I would like to
Oh.
brag about my engineering success, because when we bought this house, the basement flooded regularly.
Hmm.
And since I did all the things I did with water management and whatnot,
Mhm.
we're good. And I probably just jinxed
Really?
it.
Maybe
Oh.
you can hire yourself out and fix everybody else's.
Exactly.
problems.
Yeah,
Gutter,
I could,
gutter.
except for this thing where I'm retired.
Well, you can do
Oh,
it, you can do it for free then. Um,
Yeah, exactly, pro bono,
the good of your heart.
yeah,
well, gutters, French drains, all the things, if they really do work.
they do. You gotta give the water a place to go.
Mm,
It's like from Jurassic Park. Alls I'm saying is that the water finds a way.
That's right. More than anything, water does. Okay, so those are just the questions that were asked.
Anyone else?
No,
Nope.
it's fine. Did we approve minutes for that site walk?
We did last time.
Okay, good. I thought we had, but at a moment there, of not really.
Move to approve these minutes as adjusted.
second,
All in favor?
Ray
Yeah.
Cook, aye.
Tim Cronin, I.
Right. Another 302.
Yeah.
If I don't know who Mr. Stone is, but if he came here looking for a fight, he's very disappointed, I'm sure.
Now I'm gonna mess up the next one because I wasn't at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Did
So
it
there's
say you
only two
were?
of you.
Oh, well, it just needs
It needs a majority of,
a majority of the quorum.
Of the quorum? Good, okay.
okay, well, I think this is a really easy one anyway.
Right.
Because, shall we say, the recounting of the public hearing is highly sanitized.
What was this one?
Wasn't this the one that was also quite long?
Public hearing.
This is the one where we were in the first floor hearing room, weren't we?
No, that's the one I was at. I think it was the second one that I missed.
Yeah, this is the
Oh,
second
this
one.
is April 2nd. Yeah, this is the second one.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
There was
I
quite a
was
bit-
at the first one.
Yeah,
Mm.
there was quite a bit of discussion. But again, I think this accurately reflects what was discussed.
And the additional information that was discussed.
Yes. Right, we didn't go over all the old stuff.
Right.
You know, it
Archana?
really doesn't, you can argue that it really doesn't matter if the Dunn or Knapp property are sold.
No, the zoning would still be the zoning, right?
Yeah,
Zoning was with the land.
or even, you know, I think here the question was if they're sold before we bring it to the town.
The
But
answer is no, it doesn't matter.
unless somebody, you know, yeah, I mean, could somebody buy it and then develop it real fast to make it
Well,
impossible?
they would have to have developed it. Yeah, they couldn't just be holding it. It could still be voted.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm. Okay, 125 continued, Coffin Street. That's when we first met Mr. Neep.
That's right. And interestingly enough, the the recording stopped here. So this was my memory.
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it stopped after the public hearing. So I think I've captured it.
So, so the whole Prevagen, that works actually, huh?
What works?
Prevagen, it's one of these things that shows up on late night TV to help your memory.
Oh, I don't stay up late at night watching TV, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
But, yeah,
I think I got it.
yeah,
Now, I have a feeling that what Mr. Neep will do is he will build that wall and then he'll come in with a picture and say, I don't know what the problem is. There's a beautiful stone wall right here,
Right. And we liked the old stone wall.
but we shall see. Okay, so this was a month ago that he was there.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So does this one accurate at the beginning? Did it show that Tim was not there? I didn't check. Was it okay, Tim?
Yeah, it does.
Yes, you're not there. Okay, good.
yeah.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
It's out down here. Tim
Yes.
Cronin was
And,
not.
and the vote it does, Ann, is that what you're asking,
Yeah.
or were you
No,
asking
just
about it at the
someplace.
top?
Yeah, I just want to make sure at the top. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Oh,
move.
I have a quibble. I have a quibble.
Okay.
Going back to that first line,
First line.
very first line, yeah. It should say additional members in attendance.
Yes, because Brian's a member. That's what threw me off.
Yeah,
Oh,
They've probably been like this for 5 years, right? And you just,
I know, and I only just now noticed. I never said I was competent, Anne.
well, I guess she's saying he's not a member, he's the chair.
he is a member.
I say you're right.
Oh, better late than never, I say. Never too late to correct a mistake, right? Usually.
Well,
Any other quibbles?
no,
Unless
that's it. I've hit my quibble limit.
Right.
I think it's been moved and seconded.
Yep.
All in favor of approving the minutes as amended?
Ray Cook, aye.
Perfect.
And Tim was not here, so that's a 2-0,
Abstaining from that one, yep.
0-3. Okay, great, we're caught up.
You and me, Ann, we're a team.
We're just approving the heck out of things tonight.
Yeah, that's right. What's
Okay.
something difficult that you and I agree on? You pass it when Brian's not looking.
That's right. Well, we agree on most things, whether they're difficult or not.
What a cute little ducky you got going there.
Mm.
Thanks.
Really.
I don't know if I need to share anything else. Oh, I think that was
Well,
the,
correspondence, there was something from the town of Groveland, because
yes, I will put that up.
I think it was Groveland or Merrimack.
The correspondence was
Merrimack, okay, what are they doing?
Merrimack, public hearing,
Duplex buildings, oh my word,
right?
for them.
Great.
But yeah, all right, well, we'll see.
And then the Groveland was, why isn't that?
Add
Added an additional building to the property.
wonder what it is.
ADU.
Sounds
I
like
don't know
it.
if but it's the SD Park Trust, so it's probably, a little building to hold a lawnmower or something. Who knows? All
Right,
right, well, thank you, Town of Groveland, for letting us know.
right? I know. That's it.
That's it.
Okay, so that's minutes and correspondence, moving right along, administrative details. Oh, this is a good one. Staff support position update.
Oh, that's right.
Ms. Bur-
So the select board has, I think, has already put out the request or the for I think it's got a 40-hour-a-week position that's going to be split 4 ways, a third and a third and a third between the Conservation Commission, the Building Department, and Planning, and then a 10th for CPC. So they're looking for one person as an administrative assistant to handle all of those boards and committees. Their hope is that they will find someone that is very motivated and could work a full week and handle all of those boards.
That person needs to be very adept. That's a lot of
Very
different
adept.
levels.
They are looking for someone who is willing to learn the laws around not only conservation, but also planning, which is, quite technical in themselves. But my understanding is that people have seen some folks in different towns that work well that way, and that's their hope, that they could really find someone that could support the boards and committees in that way.
So this would mean we still have some Caitlin time, but that would go away.
Right. Caitlin would
She's
be
now-
resolved from her obligation, and the 30%, the planning board would actually have more hours.
Yeah, because we get
Right,
12 hours or whatever that
Right.
is. Yeah, 12 hours. That's exactly. what it is.
right.
This would not include evening meetings for 4 different entities, would it? That would be brutal.
I think it could, but as you know,
Oh, I will take this job.
Caitlin doesn't attend hours.
No, that's
but
awesome.
listens to recordings. And I don't know whether they've said they would, that, I didn't ask if that was a required component. And actually conservation, it wouldn't be conservation because they actually do their own minutes.
Yeah,
And it works quite well. Again, it is very technical, but they would support the conservation commission in other ways, or the
Right.
conservation agent in other ways. She's extremely busy.
yeah.
Lots
it's
of
just-
ideas to kind of get reporting and recording and filing all up to date, so.
Mhm, mhm.
And she has boots on the ground, a whole lot,
Oh, yeah, she's not in the office.
you know.
Yeah. So for the building department, is the person who's there now leaving, or is this in addition?
I think this position is offered to her. She's been part-time for some time.
Yes,
And I don't know if I think it's being offered to see if she wants it, but I don't know where that is, if she is accepted or wants to increase her hours.
yeah,
or
that's
would
tricky.
prefer not to. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Anyway, I didn't really need to go into all of that. Well, I think this makes sense. They've been talking about doing something similar for a while, and this would sort
Yeah.
of codify the whole thing.
Right.
Well,
Did you say it was posted, Sue?
I think that if it's not posted, it will be, but I did see, I actually went over the job description and we were required to get
Okay.
our comments into Angus this week. So if it's not already posted, I think it will be very, very soon. And it may be one of the things they're taking up at tomorrow night's meeting to get final approval of, or Thursday night's meeting. I'm not sure,
great.
but it'll be out there very quickly. I think they'd like to move right along on it.
Yeah, it's gonna take a good search.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
Right.
and website, of course, that's a big part of what they would do as well.
sure. Yeah. Okay,
Well, we got lucky finding you, Sue.
Hmm.
yes.
Oh,
And-
thank you, right?
That's true.
Very
Maybe
nice.
Maybe there's somebody out there who's this
Yeah.
perfect job for them.
Yeah, yeah. It would be lively.
Yeah,
Okay. Future agendas, I think we're kind of plowing through May 21st with River Road, the A&R for Ash Street,
right.
quick little scan of the scenic road stock, and anything other that we blithely say, oh, write that up, and that you
Right.
want us to look at. Feel free to put it on the
Yeah,
agenda.
I don't think there's anything else bubbling up right at the moment, but
Okay, well, all these pending things, who knows, Mr. You know,
right.
I can't think of the Drake's folks may finally wrap up, or Mr. Crow may finally wrap up, or somebody else may, but we'll see.
Right.
Okay. Anything unanticipated? Not by me, except being the chair for the evening.
Right.
Well, you get all that extra pay.
Exactly. I expect
The
a
big
fat-
stipend that they're
fat-
talking
Well,
about?
packet.
it's a 50% increase.
That's right. Heck, it's 100%
Yeah,
increase.
choose your percentage.
It can be anything.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, there was something I just wanted to mention, but it will be on next week's agenda. So this is just a head up, 23 Archelaus Place is going to send the town a notice of intent that they are going to sell a small portion of their larger lot. And which means they're taking it out of chapter 61. So I think there's a process. They have to send that to the planning board and the
yes.
select board and all of that. So that's on, we had a heads up. I think they got a digital, they received it digitally, but it has to be given in person. So just a heads up that that'll also be on next week's agenda.
Yes, there's a whole process for land that comes out of chapter land.
Yes.
So does it abut all that town forest and stuff up there, or?
You know, it's just a very small parcel that they're taking out.
Huh.
I think it's, yeah,
Well, it'll be a good test of how well the different boards and committees work together on this chapter land thing. We haven't had one of those for a while, and it used to be chaotic, so.
right. Yeah,
Yes,
and I
not
think they've
gonna-
already done the work. I think they've submitted the market assessment and all of that. And And the town has to tell them how much money they have to pay, but like I said, it's a small portion of a larger portion, which they still intend to keep in chapter 61.
Do you know if they're trying to create a building lot? Because that's another thing on that land that was supposedly capped with no more.
Oh, interesting. I don't
Building,
know. They didn't,
remember?
it doesn't say that.
Oh, no, of course it doesn't. But
Right, but it is just a small little corner. I'd have to look to see if it is even large enough for that.
hmm,
So
Because
is
we
that,
went
is that
through
2
that
acres zoning there or?
we went through quite a rigmarole before about with the abutter saying, no, 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 there are never supposed to be any more
Ah, that's a
stuff
good,
created
make a
here.
note.
I don't want to do that again. Thank you.
Right. But I knew there was something unexpected that I wanted to share with you. That was it,
All right, good. Well, developing story, those are always good too.
How
right?
small is it? Can we fit 87 units there?
Right.
But tell them to take a bit more out, maybe 6 acres.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
6, that's all we need.
that's just 6 acres.
No, I think it's, yeah.
Okay. Who
Do
knows?
you want me
Maybe
to try to find it or are you
I'm idly curious, but
idly curious? I might, let me see if I can
Pass.
find it.
That's the
fast.
street where the sheep are. Those are the sheep, right? Oculus Place.
No, it's up on top of the hill there. I don't know if
Up
there's sheep.
behind
Are you
Mill
talking
Pond.
Oculus Hill or Oculus Place?
Oh, I thought it was
Oh,
Arcos Hill.
Arcless Place, yeah.
Arcos Place.
Arcos
Yeah,
Place
no,
is
that's
okay,
down
never
by
Poorhouse
mind.
Buckley's.
Lane and yeah.
Oh, that's.
Is
oh,
that
okay.
different?
Sorry, yes.
that's
Arcos
different.
Hill is
Yeah.
the one where the drama was. So Arcos
Oh,
Place.
Yes.
okay.
But Arcos Place is where the new Sawmill Brook
Right?
Yes.
parcel access is.
Yep.
Yeah, Arcos Place.
There's some
Oh.
sheep on
Place
that
always
street.
struck me as sort of like a little Shangri-La in West Newbury.
Yeah,
It's dead end.
it is.
You know what it used to be, don't you, down at the end there?
The estimated lot
Ah.
size is 1.25 acres.
Okay.
That's not small.
No, that's not small.
Yeah,
But that's
I
where the
think-
poorhouse was.
think it-
Poorhouse Lane
I
is
think
down
they've got
there.
19
Yep.
acres that's remaining in the,
Oh, interesting. Well, who knows? Maybe a neighbor wants something, or you never know what people are doing. Maybe they're going to make an ADU.
it says the reason is financial.
Wow, that's not very specific.
Hmm.
I'll send
Very.
I'll send all of these documents
Well, you don't have to. I mean, if it hasn't actually been applied for yet, is it really
Right.
public?
no, I mean, when it's.
Yeah, when it is. Yeah, yeah.
It'll be in your
Yeah, yeah. It'll be
packet
in
for
the-
the
All
week.
right, great. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to do that.
Of course.
Thank you, Tim. Yes, I was confusing that with Arcos Hill, which is what,
Right.
yeah.
I did that for
That's weird,
years.
because I was too, Ann. My brain immediately went up the hill.
Yeah, it's PTSD, I think is what we call that.
Better than down
It
the
is
hole.
what it is. Maybe.
All right, well, this has been swell. I think that may be it unless anybody has anything else to add. All
Nope.
set? All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? We're all in favor of that.
Go
There you go.
Celtics.
Right.
Oh,
you, Tim.
man, that game the other night.
The game tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole overtime thing, I mean, exactly like the previous year, as
Right?
far as the number of games, who won everything. Oh, my God.
Wonder, yeah.
Good night.
All
Good
right,
night.
good night. See everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.